Dearest gentle viewer, do you dream of pastel drawing rooms, delicate florals, and that soft candlelit glow that feels straight out of a Regency ball? Be honest, did you just finish binge watching Bridgerton last week and look around your home and think, I need a bit of Bridgerton in my home? Yeah, haven't we all? If you love pastel tones, ultra romantic styles, or even Grandmillenial style, that's exactly what we're talking about today. Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Jacqueline, I'm an interior designer, and today I'm showing you how you can decorate your home like it's a Bridgerton estate, so that it feels elevated and expensive, but you can actually do it on a budget. I've gone for more of a modern take on a Bridgerton interior, you'll see what I mean. And I've done a living room and a bedroom design, but don't worry, it's not like ultra modern or anything like that. It's still very in line with the Bridgerton set design. I am going down to Bridgerton country for a wedding in spring actually, so if you want to see a video on actual historically accurate Regency interiors and architecture, let me know. But yeah, this video is all about how to layer historical symmetry and patterns with modern functionality, so that you can transform your current home into a sophisticated romantic space. But here's the thing, Regency interiors are stunning. I mean, the colours, the pastels, yes, gorgeous. The florals, beautiful. The gilded accents are iconic. But if you don't have the literal house that the Bridgertons have, then I think everything can start to look a bit garish and over the top, like it doesn't quite belong. It just becomes out of place in a modern type home that most of us have. So I've created these designs in a way that keeps the essence of the Bridgerton set, and it also doesn't feel like an antique shop explosion. So let's jump in. Not to sound melodramatic, but the Bridgerton set design is actually some of the best set design I've seen on TV, ever. Before we go into the design part, I think we really need to look at what interiors were like in Regency England. The Regency period was roughly between 1811 and 1820, when King George III was deemed unfit to rule and his son, the future George IV, stepped in as Prince Regent. Hence, Regency. Fancy, right? And if you've seen Queen Charlotte, then you'll know that that story is, well, true. The king did indeed have a mental illness at the time, and his son did replace him eventually. The Regency period was actually a time in the greater spanning Georgian period. So when we refer to Georgian architecture, the Regency period architecture is also interwoven into that, if that makes sense. Basically, it was the era of high society, ornate architecture, glittering balls, the romantic movement in literature, excessive food, and enough corsets to make a modern designer faint. It was a time characterised by extreme contrasts as well though, with the opulent, pleasure-seeking lifestyles of the aristocracy, also known as the ton. Yes, they were very much real. The Prince Regent loved luxury. Everything from his palaces to private retreats had to be opulent, dramatic, and very, very extra. That energy trickled into architecture and interiors, and that's exactly what Bridgerton steals. Regency architecture was elegant, symmetrical, and classically inspired. Think Greek and Roman columns, sweeping facades, stucco finishes, and big sash windows. Mansions had these clean, balanced lines, but the interiors, on the other hand, oh no, they went full-on colour, patterns, and finishes. Inside, it was all about refinement with flair. Wallpapers were patterned but soft, often with florals, damasks, or chinoiserie prints. And chinoiserie was at its peak during this time in the UK, and it was popularised by the influx of Asian goods that were brought to Europe aboard the East India Company. And the designs are characterised by fantastical landscapes, pagodas, and exotic figures. Furniture was delicate, yet also very structured, with lots of gilded accents and intricate inlays. And lots of textiles, of course. Silk, velvet, and embroidered details were everywhere. Because why settle for plain when you can have decadence? Some of my favourite filming locations on the show are the Featherington Staircase, Lady Danbury's house exterior, the Queen's Palace, and the ball that Lady Danbury hosted, where we see Penelope's transformation for the first time. I think it was called the Four Seasons Ball. And actually just the general set that they built to resemble cities like Bath in the UK, it's just so huge. It's really impressive what they accomplished. I mean, they basically built like a mini town. And randomly, I actually grew up round the corner from Hatfield House, where a lot of the scenes were filmed in Hertfordshire, so that's pretty cool. If I had to describe a Bridgerton interior, yes, it's rooted in Regency elegance with its symmetry, detailing, gilded frames and all that kind of stuff, but it's actually far more playful than historical interiors ever were. Real Regency rooms could actually be quite restrained, even formal. So I can understand how the production designers wanted to dial up the drama for TV to create a more cinematic setting. It's like stepping into a pastel daydream. Think frescoed ceilings, washed in sky blue, walls the colour of Easter eggs, and sunlight surrounding towers of decadent cakes. What makes it so distinctive are the colours, I think. Instead of the darker, heavier palettes that we're so used to seeing in the later half of the 19th century, the palettes here are much lighter and delicate. They lean into sorbet pastels like duck egg blue, wisteria, primrose yellow, blush pink. They were also very common in the Regency period. Which is why you see all those colours usually shown in Bridgerton, but also in other Jane Austen adaptations as well. They were common in the Regency period. There's nothing muddy, there's nothing greyed out. I'll show you what I mean in the living room and bedroom designs. So in a Bridgerton-inspired living room, I think baby blue or duck egg blue should absolutely take prominence, much like the Bridgerton's drawing room. It's the kind of blue that feels like an early spring morning, and it keeps it fresh and elegant. The bedroom, however, is where we let the romantic style really take over. The palette here I think should become a bit sweeter. Think dusty rose, soft raspberry, and use buttery yellow and pale lilacs for accents. Remember what gives Bridgerton interiors their charm? Nothing really contrasts harshly, everything seems to blend together quite well. Now let's talk textiles, because this seems to be where people either nail the Regency aesthetic or accidentally create Victorian bed and breakfast energy. And as your interior designer, I'm here to make sure that we stay very much in the diamond of the season category, okay? And if you hadn't noticed, there's a lot of pattern and prints on the Bridgerton set, so pattern is going to be your friend here. In the living room, I love the idea of a light blue floral and bird print wallpaper, but here's the thing, I think to elevate it even more, frame it within wainscoting panelling. That framing is everything. It takes the wallpaper from a pretty country cottage to elegant Regency townhouse. And if you hadn't noticed, there's actually wall panelling galore in the Bridgerton set. As a designer, I always say that panelling is like the eyeliner of a room, it just sharpens everything up. I would paint the wainscoting in a soft blue tone, keep it slightly deeper than the wallpaper background, and suddenly the delicate floral and bird motif feels curated and architectural rather than sickly sweet. If you don't love the floral bird print, as alternatives I suggest a toile, damask or OG floral. But that will be the base of our living room. Now the bedroom is where we lean fully into the romance aspect. I'm absolutely giving you full permission to go all in with pinky red toile de joie across all 4 walls. It sounds dramatic, but don't worry, because once we add other aspects, everything will gel together. I think this print wallpaper is perfect because toile is inherently storytelling, pastoral scenes, delicate line work, almost like painting a picture of the world of Bridgerton itself. There's obviously lots of pink in Bridgerton, so if you're feeling brave, go for a light pink, or for a bolder look, go for more of a red like I have here. One thing you'll notice about Bridgerton curtains is that they are very theatrical, heavily draped, lots of elaborate tiebacks, and layers of cascading fabric that look like they require their own postcode in Mayfair, quite frankly. And while they're stunning on screen, I think in reality, it can move to being quite formal or just dated. I just want to remind you that we're translating the feeling of a Regency drama, not literally copying an 1850 window treatment. Instead, I'd recommend double layer curtains to keep things romantic but current for the bedroom. And for the living room, opt for plain curtains that are a lighter shade of the wall panelling, so keep it in the blue family. As a side note, if you're enjoying the video so far, please leave a like and a comment. I really appreciate that. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this. When it comes to furniture in a Bridgerton-inspired living room, nothing should feel boxy or blocky. Try to look for furniture that has a slight curve to it. Regency interiors were all about elegance and proportion, and you can absolutely echo that without needing a ballroom. Start with a French style sofa, something with a gently curved back, slim arms, maybe subtle carved detailing along the frame, and upholster it in a soft neutral or pale blue. Then I would layer it with watercolor style cushions. Let's talk gilded accents. Bridgertons love a bit of gold, and so do I, but when it's done sparingly. Dainty two-tiered gold side tables are perfect for that. They add that aristocratic shimmer without overwhelming the room. An aged side buffet or console adds depth and history. Look for something with a slightly time-worn finish. In the centre of the room, instead of a hard coffee table, I actually love the idea of a velvet ottoman. It instantly softens the layout and feels luxurious underfoot. Choose a tone that complements the palette, like a muted blue, soft sage, or even dusty rose. For accent seating, pale yellow armchairs bring in that optimistic, sunlit quality you see so often in Bridgerton interiors. Pair that with sage green footstools nearby. That gentle green keeps everything feeling fresh and garden-inspired. To complete the kind of base elements, I would add a rug that has complementing colours of the wallpaper. Altogether, the furniture should feel conversational to keep it modern, but also slightly indulgent, so velvet over flat linen and gold touches over matte black. You're trying to create a living room that feels perfect for gossiping and drinking tea in. Now for the bedroom, the furniture needs to feel a bit more poised and a bit more indulgent, I think. Especially because there's a crazy wallpaper going on. If your walls are wrapped in something excessive like toile, your furniture is where you really need to bring in the elegant aspects, and this is where scale really matters. A large upholstered camelback headboard is absolutely fitting. That curved top line instantly softens the room and stands out beautifully against the wallpaper. At the end of the bed, instead of one large bench, I would actually use 2 smaller footstools. They feel lighter and more playful. The gathered fabric detail gives you that old world softness, but the round shape keeps it approachable and modern. At the side, a faux bamboo edged chest of drawers would be such a subtle nod to the Regency chinoiserie influence, which was obviously hugely popular at the time. The delicate bamboo style trim adds texture and a bit of exoticism without overwhelming the space. For bedside tables, I'd keep them white with gold ring handles. The white keeps the room feeling fresh and light against those richer tones in the background, and the gold hardware ties back to that gentle gilded detailing we've used elsewhere. Bedding should feel cloud-like and inviting, and I think quilted bedding would be perfect here. It adds texture without introducing another busy pattern. Then to tie in the colour palette, add some throw pillows that pull from the wallpaper tones, pinks, reds, lilacs or soft yellows, but vary the scale so that everything doesn't blur together. We're trying to really create romantic but modern at the same time here. Lighting in your Bridgerton inspired living room is all about creating that soft glow that feels homely. Because at the end of the day, it's your home, it's not a set or a museum. For table lighting, I love chinoiserie style lamps. They bring in that delicate Regency era exoticism. They would sit perfectly on either side tables or a buffet, giving the room personality and that curated feel. Overhead, a drum shade chandelier is perfect for adding a little bit of drama without being too overwhelming, I think. Unlike ornate crystal chandeliers that scream the Queen's ballroom, a drum shade keeps the light warm and diffused while still making a statement. I think they're just very Bridgerton in spirit. And don't forget the walls. 2 armed brass sconces with small lampshades. I think they would look great in between the wall panels in particular. Strategically placed, they create pockets of warmth and intimacy, making the living room feel refined. Going back to the bedroom, on the bedside tables, I love the idea of using round ball glass table lamps. Pair them with classic fabric shades in cream or soft pastel tones. Overhead, I'd go for a large overhead pendant light with a floral motif. Something that feels dramatic but not overpowering. There's also a delicate aspect to it. Think sculpted leaves or glass petals that cast soft patterns on the ceiling. I think it's whimsical and romantic, and it instantly adds a layer of sophistication to the bedroom. If we take a look at artwork, I have mixed feelings about this. In places where florals, wallpaper and furniture fabrics are busy, I would actually recommend framed family photos over art. Otherwise, there's going to be lots of clashes of pattern, in my opinion, and after all, what's more Bridgerton than family? However, if you really want to channel that Bridgerton energy, nothing really beats painted portraits. Full-length Regency-era style portraits, or even smaller cameo-style ones, add instant elegance and drama. The key is in framing. Gilded or carved wood frames amplify the Regency feel and tie in beautifully with the other gilded accents in the room. Of course, another huge aspect of Bridgerton set design are the floral arrangements. I mean, you literally can't miss them. The production designer has said that they are actually fake flowers, because, you know, they spend hours under really harsh lighting, they would just wilt, so it makes sense, I guess, but I don't know about you, they look really realistic looking to me. They're really well done. While wisteria is iconic in the show, draped across the Bridgerton house, with a living room full of duck egg blues and lots of pastel tones, I actually favour using cherry blossoms. Their delicate pink blooms create a gentle contrast against the cool blues, adding warmth without overwhelming the palette. Or you could pick out from the palette, but just make sure that the blues are slightly darker, like these delphiniums that I've used. I'd style the cherry blossoms in a classic ginger jar vase. Their curves and subtle oriental detailing nod to Regency chinoiserie trends. In a Bridgerton-inspired bedroom, I think flowers are the ultimate touch of romance, and they just make everything quite delicate as well. Pastel, peachy-toned roses are a perfect choice. In a small, short vase on a bedside table or dresser, it keeps a simple, elegant flourish without competing with the patterned wallpaper. White hydrangeas are another great option. Their fullness and texture bring a plush, luxurious feel, and their neutral tone complements almost any palette. Or you could of course use hyacinths. The only thing I didn't care for in terms of set design were those bloody fake trees that they decided to use. Did anyone else clock that? It's giving Hallmark movie. I really don't know where they sourced the trees from. They looked fine. It was just more like in terms of quantity, they would just stick like one cherry blossom down the road or one autumnal tree. It looked really out of place to me. I don't know what was going on there. Maybe the budget was spent on the interiors. They were like, yeah, just chuck the trees on. No one cares. Season 4, I loved it. It's my favourite season. And I think actually the costume design was the best this season as well. Did anyone else think that? In particular, the masquerade ball. I mean, the costumes were phenomenal. But yeah, like I said, this is my favourite season. What do you guys think? I think Benedict and Sophie were my favourite couple actually. Kate and Anthony though, I love them as well. So I'm not sure, but tied at the top for me. If I were to rank seasons, it would go season 4, this one that we've just watched, season 2, season 3, and then season 1 actually. I know that might be controversial for some people because a lot of people didn't like season 3, but Penelope for me is one of my favourite characters, so I just have to love season 3, I'm sorry. And season 1, yeah, I honestly think that's not the best one. I don't know, what do you think? Don't roast me in the comments, please. Let's talk about some of the subplots of this Bridgerton. So, one subplot that I didn't care about at all, I don't know why. Well, I do know why, I'll explain, but I didn't care that John died. No, I couldn't bring myself to care, quite frankly. And I think it's because, well, this is my theory anyway. John was quite boring to me as a character, and we didn't really see much interaction with him and Francesca anyway. So when he died, I didn't really have much empathy there. I didn't feel sympathetic towards her. I know I probably should have, or this is my theory now. Spoilers, if you don't want to hear spoilers, go a bit further along. I think they also kept their relationship quite non-existent really, because they knew John was obviously going to die. It's in the books. Because of who Francesca gets with later on. I think that relationship is what they want to blossom and show more of. So I think John was really that kind of character that was supposed to just be in the background. But yeah, the whole death stuff with John, I couldn't care less. I'm like, yeah. What other subplots were there? I mean, I did love the upstairs, downstairs aspect, you know, the kind of Downton Abbey of it all. I thought that was really well done, and I would actually like to see that continue as well. I mean, as usual, we didn't see any Daphne or the Duke. We also didn't see much of Kate and Anthony. They need to get them back. Bring them back, please. We all need them. Another subplot was Penelope's no longer Lady Whistledown, as we know, but there's a new Lady Whistledown. Who on earth could that be? I mean, who? I've thought about this so deeply, and I still can't tell you someone. Let me think now. And did anyone else think when the new Lady Whistledown was reading out the paper, what was that voice? I don't know if that was on purpose, but Judy Andrews' voice went weird. Was that on purpose? Was that a clue? Am I reading too much into it? Probably. I think it could be a character that we don't know. I was also thinking it could be a maid or something like that, but how they would do that, I'm not sure, but that's what I think. Like I said, my favourite character is Penelope. I don't feel like we saw much of her this season though. I don't know if we will see much more of her because she's no longer Lady Whistledown. I'm not really sure. I loved Benedict and Sophie. I think they were fantastic as the leads. Really well done, their storyline. Oh my gosh. Can we just talk about Cho Chang? How evil was Araminta? I mean, I kept on thinking maybe they're going to do like a flashback to why she is the way she is. There was no sympathy there. I wanted her in jail. I actually thought it would end with her in jail. One can only dream. In terms of couples, my favourite couple was actually Violet and Lord Anderson. And did they break up? Is that what that was? That was a breakup? I wasn't happy with that. Like, I was rooting for them. I was rooting for them, guys. I would also love to see, putting it out there to the writers, thank you, Portia Featherington. We need some character development, something like a love story or something else that she can be doing. I really like her. I think she's really misunderstood. She just wants the best for her girls, really. But I would like her story to develop a bit more in the next season. Speaking of the next season, from the books, again, skip along if you don't know, I think it will be Eloise's season. They didn't really allude to anything in this season, but based on the timing of it, I think it will be Eloise. This is another thing. A lot of people are speculating that it will be Eloise's season, then the next one will be Francesca. I really don't think they're going to do it like that. I think what they're going to do is combine Francesca into Eloise's season. I'm not going to elaborate on that, but I think that's how they're going to do it. I mean, Francesca didn't really get a season anyway, did she? It was combined with Penelope's. We need to talk about Lady Danbury though, because she is a key figure and she kind of is the glue that holds everything together in the ton. And with her going away, what I think they're going to do is have her go away, but I think she will be there for the next season. So I think it will be almost like a time jump, like she's been away, will come back, and she's been away for 2 years or something like that. Because they can't really do Bridgerton without her. And also, the time jump that I'm predicting will align with Eloise's story. I know who Eloise ends up with. I'm not going to say who. But I think there will need to be a time jump for it to appear like it didn't come out of nowhere. That's all I'm going to say about that. I would love for a season to be released next year, but, and I know that people are really, pushing Netflix to do that kind of thing, but the reality is the set design, the costume design, these things take months to plan, let alone build, so I just give them their time because they're creating art at the end of the day. That's my opinion. But yeah, all in all, it was a great season. My favourite season. I think my favourite love story is still Kate and Anthony, but in terms of the actual plot and storyline, season 4 wins for sure. And I can't wait to see what they do next. Oh my gosh, you need to tell me what you think about it though. So comment below, spill the tea, tell me everything. Please leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed the video. I really appreciate that and it really does help to grow the channel. And if you need help fulfilling your own design dreams, I've left our website in the description. I hope that you've enjoyed exploring the world of Bridgerton interiors, and I hope that I've given you some inspiration to bring that romantic decadence into your own home. But that's it for today's video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!